It's worthwhile to pursue clarity, that breath at every moment. Yet it's not remembered to do so as there's no attachment to it because it's not considered fun and it really is just kind of open when there's no sense of...
You know what this reminds me of? Spinach.
Yeah.
It's just like spinach. So I had this thing earlier this week, or last week, maybe it was time.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I think I like spinach more than I think I do. Which basically meant every time I have spinach, I'm like, I really like spinach. But then, if I'm not eating spinach...
Forget.
Yeah, I never think, I like spinach. I could use some spinach right now. And then eventually I have spinach again. It's like, I really like spinach. But it's not something that I go out of my way to have. And I never think about how much I like spinach. But I really like spinach every time I have it. But right now, it's like, if I think of eating spinach, it's not that good. And then when I eat spinach, I'll probably, this is really good.
Yeah. So similarly, moments of clarity, of really being present and living life.
Your in the zone moments, your epiphanies and your peace.
Yeah, not being in the past or the future and worrying or anxious or upset. Or
basically, anytime you feel blissful or serene and at ease.
Those moments, they're not... I mean, I would say blissful, maybe that word...
It has some...
is a little tricky.
Problems with people's
But like
perception
those real moments of just pure awareness, not like I'm really excited or whatever. Like those excitement and stuff can stick with a person more as like, oh, that moment I have attachment to it. But those moments where it's just like clear,
peace.
They're absolutely the best thing to aim for at all times. Yet aiming for them can have some elusiveness in terms of how does one achieve it or get there, or not ruin themselves trying to get something.
A lot of it too is just how do we pursue this?
Yeah.
Because nobody has the tools for it or whatever.
And then, but then the thought here is also there's not much attachment to, well, there's no attachment to that thing because the thing itself is free. It doesn't have attachment. It's not a thing that can be attached to. So the awareness, however it shows up, will then do its thing and
passes.
It passes.
Just as anything does.
It'll shift and stuff. Yet it was in such this. It was this pure, clear kind of state that it's not like, I don't really know how to describe it other than like you can't attach to it because there's no...
Yeah, well, it's if you have a moment where you are at peace there and then that peace moves away, it moves away into that swirling, into a spiral of chaos and misery and etc. And the odds of, like, because that spiral has no aim and it's just hopping around through quite literally the infinite things that it could latch onto and get attached to and like strive for.
Spiral of the mental...
Yeah, just like passion here, anger there, blah, like just, it's just a mess. The odds of it actually going back to that thing, peaceful moment.
Yeah.
When it can't even...
Right.
The odds of it happening are so low, but as well, it's an experience. Like when you can't attach to an experience, you can attach to ideas. That's why things like
you go through experience.
Yeah, and it's something that you experience, which is weird. So it's not like you're not randomly going to accidentally move into a state of clarity just to remind yourself, oh yeah, being in clarity is good.
Yeah.
Like that's what it would have to take. Otherwise, if you look at any other content, that's why things like even the idea of action scenes or the hype for something can be cooler than the thing itself. Like regardless of what the thing is.
Because of all that attachment towards it.
Yeah. Like that is so much more powerful and there's so much more energy in there than the thing itself for the most part, because the thing is dead. Like when it happens, it's just like, oh, whatever. And then like in the moment, sometimes they're exhilarating, like, ooh, a cool car chase. Ooh, just all the stuff that people are attached to.
Or even why people like movies, probably, why it's such of a big enterprise, because it is in time. It takes you bit by bit.
Yeah, it's like a full duration of passing. So as it's passing, it's like really elating. And then when it's not there, there's still the idea of it that has so much power and the hype for it and etc. And then it's passing, and then afterwards like that was awesome, etc. Like the power kind of carries through. But if a moment passes and you're at peace, you're not going to have the ideas of, man, that was so awesome or anything.
No.
Because it's just like when you're there, it's like freeing.
Yeah.
There's no intensity to it. Nothing. It's just like, wow, I wish I could stay like this forever. Becomes like a thought when you're in it, and then you're no longer in that experience, and you can't remember what that experience is like because it's not like a memory. It's not a thing you saw or like a sensation. It's not something you touched. It wasn't like pleasure or pain or anything. It's not something that you can picture anymore, visually, audially, anything. It's not a thing. It's like a complete state of being. It's how you were during that time, rather than the things that were happening to and around and as and with you during that time. You can't hop to it and be attached to it.
Yeah, it's like a couple things. It being a state is a good way to show it because like people can't just jump into any state.
Yeah.
Yes, that you can act that, you can kind of portray a state and kind of endow yourself with things that lend to a state, but not really often states like that are like emptiness. That is really nothing endowing the moment, but the moment revealing itself however it happened.